Oh yeah, and you pretty much just get flinch free built into it. Like, this weapon is crazy now. I swear this weapon is going to be insane. I'm going to start off with the Insect Glaive day 1. So the fact that the Insect Glaive finally gets its aerial triple dash back and it's also getting an offset is kind of crazy, considering how already it was good on the floor by playing the floor glaive. And if you weren't already aware, the offset is a brand new mechanic that was added to Monster Hunter Wilds, which is essentially just a counterattack or a parry and prevent monsters from attacking. It quite literally stun locks them. So the brand new Monster Hunter Wild patch just got revealed. This will be like a day 1 release version of the game. I'm pretty sure we actually saw most of this already from like select developer interviews, but just in case you haven't, this is like a new website page that was published by Capcom and Monster Hunter to show you exactly what will be changed when the game releases or on release day. So first off, big shout out to Monster Hunter Wilds. This is not sponsored, but I will be playing it. I'll be live streaming it every single day. So if you want to come over, chill on the stream, I'll be streaming it as soon as it releases, and I'll put the time on the screen here. And the first thing I want to go through is that there have been a lot of performance fixes, rendering bugs that have been addressed, because if you have a good setup, even like myself, it still just had pretty bad performance. Like, I have a 4070 Ti Super, and even then, it was still hitting some really nasty frame drops in certain areas. So glad to know that that has been hopefully addressed. We'll see what it's like on release date. The first thing up is that they have changed a lot of the gameplay for the weapons. The hit stop, like when your weapon makes contact with an enemy, there's like a slight little pause. It's supposed to feel more satisfying and more impactful now. Mitigation of friendly fire. Now this one I saw was a bit controversial because a lot of people that are like really long-term diehard Monster Hunter fans don't actually like this change as far as I understand. I'm not going to pretend to be a long-term Monster Hunter fan. I've only started playing recently, but I've been having a lot of fun with it, and a lot of people didn't like that they're reducing the friendly fire. The friendly fire has been mitigated for most weapon types, and it's even further mitigation of friendly fire when the game releases for the upswing hammer attacks. You can also still use the shockproof jewel in this game, which is a decoration that you won't really, I don't think you unlock it until high rank, so early on you're not going to have access to this, but once you do, you'll be able to use a shockproof jewel to completely negate all damage reactions from being hit by an ally or hitting an ally. That way it treats it like nobody ever hit you. Adjusting so that monsters move between different areas at a similar frequency to Monster Hunter World. So I played a lot of worlds. I made it through Iceborne, but one thing I did notice was that when I played the open beta test and I was farming Arkveld, he keeps moving so much and so often, and I thought that was a bit frustrating, especially with like the limited time in the open beta test. But I killed him regardless. I killed him several times regardless, and even did it like my own personal best times. And hopefully what this means is that it's going to be a lot less, and it's not going to be as frequent when monsters will move from location to location, because I was feeling that they kind of moved around a little too much, which again, I guess that's the hunting aspect of Monster Hunter, but seems like they wanted to pull back on that, and I'm hoping that's what this means. All right, Insect Glaive. This is huge because I am a fellow Insect Glaive enjoyer, Church of the Insect Glaive here in this channel, and also dual blades. Those are going to be the two weapons that I'll be rocking, maybe like a bow or something for range option. But I didn't use Insect Glaive at all in the open beta test because the Insect Glaive does not function the way that it normally does, and they pulled back on some changes. They kind of reworked how Insect Glaive completely functions. They didn't want it to be something that you could just juggle around in the air, and wanted to focus more on like floor Insect Glaive fighting, which is not bad. Like, you actually do deal more damage when you're not in the air, so that was technically a good change. However, taking away the ability to hop around and do backflips in the air was something that a lot of people liked about Insect Glaive. This is just confirming that they brought that back. Being able to vault in multiple times in different areas and different directions in the air, that's something that they took away, that they have only just now added back. Even though they announced this change a while ago, it was not in the open beta test and you could not play it. So this will be a day 1 change that the Insect Glaive will receive to be completely different than what you played in the open beta test. When I say completely different, I mean completely different, because this attack, these new moves, it has an offset as well. And the offset is basically like a parry or a deflect when you perfectly time a certain move. That's what the offset is here. This is the interaction of it. If you do it here, at the right time, it'll deflect it and stun the monster a little. That is also completely just brand new to the Insect Glaive. It has never had that before, and it didn't even have that in the open beta test. So I think Insect Glaive is going to be crazy. I think it was already good, but the lack of mobility did kind of hinder it a little, because I do prefer the mobility, not for damage, but just to reposition myself for some bosses. It's very helpful, and I really like that it gives you mount damage every time you jump attack so that you can mount enemies easier. And your aerial damage increases by 2 levels for every time that you vault, so hopefully that makes mounting even easier. And you can combo down from the aerial into a bunch of different sets. And if you weren't already aware, the offset is a brand new mechanic that was added to Monster Hunter Wilds, which is essentially just a counterattack or a parry and prevent monsters from attacking. It quite literally stun locks them. A lot of other weapons, mainly like the big weapons like great swords and heavy weapons, had the offsets, and the Insect Glaive didn't. It never had that. This is a brand new feature that is also brand new for the Insect Glaive. So it's like a double bonus for the Insect Glaive because other weapons already had this. The Insect Glaive never got it. So the fact that the Insect Glaive finally gets its aerial triple dash back and it's also getting an offset is kind of crazy considering how already it was good on the floor by playing the floor glaive. And I'm pretty sure I can guarantee that it'll be way better than it was in the open beta test. So if you weren't a fan of it earlier, hopefully you'll see the light now. Oh yeah, and you pretty much just get flinch free built into it. Like this weapon is crazy now. I swear this weapon is going to be insane. I'm going to start off with Insect Glaive day one. And if I don't really like it, or if maybe I don't like the new changes or whatever, because it is a little bit different, I'll probably switch back to the dual blades because I love the dual blades too. The lance also got some love because all 5 lance players that actually use this instead of the gun lance or any other weapon are able to rejoice because the charge counter now allows guarding while you're charging and can be changed into any other attack. That way you can keep your guard up while charging and then combo from your guard as well, being a lot safer, more defensive, and equally offensive. Power Guard now charges to higher levels faster when used to successfully defend against more powerful monster attacks. So the stronger the monster, the faster your Power Guard will charge and will actually reward you for blocking and guarding. And now Perfect Guard and Power Guard can be chained into any move, allowing just more freedom of expression and combos from all of your attacks while guarding. So much love to all 5 lance players. Hope you guys enjoy this one. I'm kidding. Switch Axe. This is definitely one of the most underrated weapons. It's kind of like the chill weapon that really does its own thing. And like not many people really use this weapon, but the people who do use this weapon genuinely love it for what it is. They made a couple of quality of life improvements so that switching from sword mode to axe mode will feel a lot more satisfying and responsive than it was before. Parameter improvements made to various moves, including full release slash, and your knockback is now negated when using full release slash, so no knockback effect at all, which is kind of crazy. Now for sword and shield. I think sword and shield's actually fairly rated. I don't think it's underrated or too strong. I think it's like a perfect beginner weapon and also has a little high of a skill ceiling for people who do choose to master it. But now you can use rising slash while guarding, so you can be a little bit more defensive. It also has so the power clash is something that can be done by a lot of the heavy weapons, but the sword and shield can actually do this too. So the fact that the sword and shield can already do a power clash with a perfect guard time, and now rising clash can be used while guarding. Your perfect rush has been improved, especially your normal attacks as well. Improve the responsiveness of the mobile chop and slide slash combo, as well as guard slash and perfect rush. So hopefully that means there's a little bit less input delay when you use these and they're executed a lot smoother than they were before. And improve the evasionness of backstep and sliding swipe. This is kind of crazy. So when you do a backstep on the sword and shield, it actually gives you iframes, and that's already really good. I don't know if it's the exact same as a dodge or less or whatever. I don't know the exact frame data. I'm sure somebody can correct me on this, but the fact that they are choosing to actually buff that so you have more iframes when you do that move is insane. This will have a very high skill ceiling, but still be pretty fairly easy to pick up for newer players as well. And now for the bow and other weapons. These will be the final changes here. The bow is being rebalanced. I've already said before that I thought the bow was pretty broken, and they are kind of in agreement with it, so they are hitting it a little. However, I do want to clear the air. This is not going to ruin the weapon. This is not gutting it. If anything, these are the most fair nerfs that they could possibly give, and I think it will still be overpowered. Like, I don't think you're gonna notice this at all. It says rebalancing the bow with increased attack power and responsiveness of moves such as normal attacks and arc shots. So we actually got a straight up buff for a little bit of a nerf. That is an adjustment. That's not like a full nerf and we're not getting anything. We're getting more damage, which you're already doing insane DPS first off, and we're getting more responsiveness to all of our attacks to make everything smoother while kiting. And that the only exchange is that the strength of your tracer shots gets a little bit nerfed, and that you can't charge them up all at the same time. So these little marks that charge will have to charge one by one. But here's why I don't think this is a big issue and why the bow is even going to be more OP. Because again, more attack power and responsiveness of your attacks to be a lot smoother while kiting and running away and killing a boss and DPSing it. And on top of that, you get these focus strikes that will charge up one at a time. But these focus strikes that charge up, they don't charge up one at a time. You see how there's like 3 little dots there? It's not waiting for all 3 dots to charge up. What it's doing is it's allowing you to charge one dot first and before you can charge the other dots. So it's actually not that bad. I think this change is pretty much going to be irrelevant because you're still able to charge multiple wounds at once. It just has a slightly slower startup time instead of all at once. The fact that you can still charge up multiple wounds at the same time, it's just a little bit delayed, makes it pretty much unnoticeable as a nerf. Like, you're not going to notice that. And you'll see again when this loops back that you can start charging the other ones automatically after a small delay. So it'll be 1, 2, and then another one starts, and then 1, 2, another one starts. So you don't actually have to wait for the full wound to be fully locked on. You can actually start charging them automatically after like halfway through, which is not that bad. That's really not that bad. That is like the most fair thing that they could possibly do, as well as giving us more attack power and responsiveness of your light attacks and your regular attacks. And in general, wide-ranging adjustments to skills and elemental values to balance for the full game content, including endgame. This is the weirdest part, I think, is I don't know what they mean by elemental values, because I don't think any weapon really had elements to it, except like maybe just for the files and the ammo types that you use, because that was the only way you could really test elemental values. So I hope it's not like a too big of a change to nerf things based on just how few weapons got to even use them in the open beta test. Because I played dual blades, and one of the best parts of dual blades was that you were able to use your arc demon mode, the blue mode, to get more elemental damage, but you couldn't really test that because you didn't have access to any elemental damage in the network test. And yeah, they actually just buffed most weapons in general to low damage output and hit detection so that everything feels like it's hitting more consistently and you're not getting too much low damage before. I really don't think the damage was that low. I think the fact that we played the open beta test with like no gear at all, barely any set bonuses, no improved weapons or upgrades, no boss weapons, I think that was the only issue. So I don't know if people are complaining about the like default weapons being not as strong. I think it was just something that you had to learn how to use in the network test. But overall, these are great changes. I'm actually very happy. I don't think these nerfs were that bad. I think these were pretty much generally all buffs with the exception of the bow. And I can't wait for Monster Hunter Wilds. Once again, if you made it to the very end, I've been SYROBE, and hopefully I'll see you live on Twitch because I'm planning on streaming every single day as soon as this game comes out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.